Congressman Jim Renacci is with us, Republican from Ohio. He's on the tax writing committee there. Sir, how much support, when this gets to the Senate, how much support are you going to get from Democrats? Any at all?
Well, Stuart, look, everybody, whether you're in the House or the Senate, knows we have to reduce our tax rate. They know that. We cannot continue to have the highest tax rate in the world and allow businesses to leave because of the highest tax rate in the world. We have to make the United States the most competitive place.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping that Democrats and Republicans, they need to see this. We need to move this forward.
Yeah, I know we need. But are you going to get Democrat support in the Senate when you cut the corporate tax rate to 15% and the small business tax rate to 15%? I mean, can you get some Democrat support for that, you think?
Well, I think what we have to do is make sure that the Democrats, many of which are friends of mine, realize that if we don't do anything, these businesses are going to continue to leave the United States. And guess what happens? Because the big argument is we're going to lose revenue. Well, we're losing revenue already as businesses go across the pond, overseas, and set up headquarters.
I know that's what we need to do. I know that's what we're hoping for. But have you heard anything from some of the more, like Joe Manchin, for example, or Heidi Heitkamp? Have you heard anything coming out of more moderate Democrats that would suggest maybe they can get behind some aspects of tax reform? Anything?
Well, Stuart, one of the good things is I work with a bipartisan group. We have a bipartisan breakfast this morning. We talked about the tax rate, dropping the tax rate. And one members from the other side, these are moderate Democrats, had said, what are we going to do about the deficit? The one good thing, Stuart, is I'm glad to hear we're now talking about the deficit, too. We haven't talked about that. We talk about spending, spending, and spending. What we now have to do is look at things. We have to be competitive. We have to lower the rate, and we have to look at spending. So I think we need, this is great. This opens up the opportunity to say, how do we become competitive, and how do we bring our spending down?
But hold on, Congressman. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin early this morning walked right away from the border adjustment tax. That's how you pay for, that's how you were going to pay for tax cuts. He's walking away from it.
Well, look, as a border adjustment tax, as you probably know already, I've said that I'm not supportive of its current state either. I wanted to see the transition rules. I wanted to see the issues, because what the border tax does is it just pushes that cost onto the consumers. Again, it's just a tax. It's just a tax change that the consumers pay for. In the end, what we've got to do is spur the economy. If we're doing a border tax and all it does is cause individuals and hardworking families to have to spend more money, that's going to hurt the economy. So I'm a big believer. We have to look at it. I'm not saying let's throw it out, but I think we have to look at all ideas, and that's really the key.
How did you respond when your colleagues on the other side of the aisle were talking about the deficit and how we mustn't run up the deficit, when the deficit has been run up by $10 trillion during the 8 Obama years?
Well, again, it was a great dialogue, because now we're talking about the deficit. I'd love to hear the Democrats talking about that. But at the same time, we have to look at being competitive. So look, we're in a business scenario. I've been a businessman for 30 years. You're aware of that. You can't just sit and do nothing. Your business will fail. What we have to do is we have to look to be competitive and then turn around and look to bring our expenses down and bring the deficit down at the same time. That's a difficult thing. But by the way, small businesses do that all the time in the real world, as I call it. I was in the real world for 30 years. I had that.
Well, you've got to get the Republican Party together. You got to do it. You couldn't do it on health care. You got to do it on taxes. Can you tell me, definitely, that you will get the Republican Party together to get a tax cut this year?
Well, look, I believe Republicans understand we have to bring taxes down. Look, Republicans always believe you shouldn't have to pay for a tax cut. I'm not saying that is the answer, but I know that most Republicans believe you should not have to pay for a tax cut. In the other side of it, I know Democrats believe you should have to pay for a tax cut. How do we get Republicans together? We show them that we can't continue down this path. We can't let businesses grow. We're the party of small business, small families, individuals, families, hardworking class Americans. We have to make sure that everybody gets that opportunity that allows their taxes to come down, and at the same time grow this economy. It's one of the reasons why I told you the border tax concerns me, because if it hurts hardworking families, that's an issue for me as well.
Okay, Congressman Renacci, thanks very much for joining us, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you.